Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. And today I'm going to hear about the woes of getting more in shape. So this video is by Thomas DeLauer. He's been around for a while. I remember him from back in the day, back in my keto days. But he's doing a video where he says people hated me for losing weight. So I want to hear this because I've experienced a little bit of this already. And I'm pretty average still. I would say, like, maybe by American standards, I'm leaning a bit more on the snatch side at this point. I don't think I'm snatched at all, I'll be very clear. I just think by American standards, the bar is very low. So it's giving, like, I don't know. I'm already having people be like, oh my gosh, I thought that you were going to just maintain, or you shouldn't be doing that. Or, I'm already getting those kind of comments, which I think for me, I think it's early to get those comments. But I don't know. You guys can let me know when you guys got comments like that. I'd be interested in hearing about it. Like I said, this is more forecasting. It's the joys of what's to come, right? But I have had salt mines already, which I always talked about that. Like I didn't get salt like when I was in my mid-size era. It was more like TRE followed by the letter D, triggering of people that have that issue. So it was not Gen Pop. I still don't know if I'm triggering the general public. I don't know if I've gotten that as much, but we'll see. So I'm going to trust what he has to say. He is in shape, and he has been for quite a while. So let's go ahead and hear.
You're going to get judged more when you're in shape. It's just going to happen. Okay, we live in a world now where, unfortunately, people that make progress and people that feel good about themselves a lot of times get punished more so than people that let themselves go. And I mean that politely, because I've been in both situations. Granted, when I was 300 pounds, we lived in a slightly different world than we probably live in now, and things were looked at differently. But
I also think, too, this video is like 5 years old. So I wonder what has changed culturally. It's just an interesting question. Um, it's something that I'm thinking a lot about in this era of mine where we're thinking more collectively. It's like, has the decline of, well, the cultural decline of fat, well, I don't even know if I can say that. The illusion of a cultural decline of fat acceptance, has that affected how people who are getting in shape are perceived, or people who are in really good shape? Like, has that affected that? Or is it still similar to 5 years ago? It's just an interesting question. I don't have an answer.
when I was overweight, I didn't get a lot of judgment. People didn't judge me negatively for being overweight. But why? Well, my theory, and a lot of what I've recognized with a lot of other people, is that when you're overweight, you're the person that kind of has that subconscious sort of underlying degree of just helplessness. And you're not someone that is going to be a threat to people. They may.
This might be especially true from a male perspective. I've always found it interesting, like my experience, my gender expression, whatever you want to call it. It's very bizarre. I don't know what else to say, but it's bizarre. So I get like, I don't have any guarantees, but I don't know. I wonder if some of that is more of a male thing. Like, he's very much like a manly man. So I wonder if he wasn't judged as much for being bigger, whereas maybe a woman would be. But I don't know. It's hard, like, whenever we think about this stuff, like, because I just can't. I mean, I guess like the numbers are different because he's taller and whatnot, but like I can't imagine a woman that's 290 never getting a comment. You know what I mean? I know for me, I always got comments constantly, like especially in the 2000s. It was all the time. It was pretty often. Like, I don't know if it was all the time. That might be old school zombie Alex. Like, but it happened often enough. In the 2010s, it was very rare, but it did occur. It happened like maybe 4 or 5 times in a decade. So that is just like not enough to even count. But when I was like growing up and in the 2000s, like it was definitely often, but I was also smaller. I think when you're at a certain size, you reach a point of like people just give up on you. I know that sounds horrible, but I think that there is that quality when you're mid-sized or when you're small fat where it's like people think you're more redeemable, so they're more likely to comment on it at those sizes than when you're really big. People just don't say anything anymore. Um, so I think it's just always interesting to consider like all these different aspects. I'm just kind of exploring things tonight.
May not look at you and say, aha, yay, that person's not a threat. But subconsciously, when you're out of shape, when you look like garbage and you act like you look like garbage, people are going to take advantage of that on a subconscious
Because
level.
I do wonder too if some of those gender expectations are different today as well. Or maybe it is more universal judgment, or it's kind of like even if a woman is downsizing, she's going to get judged a lot too. Like, even for me, for the general population, obviously, of straight people, I don't really face a like romantic competition threat. So I don't really get a lot of those types of issues. But I still have gotten more of the more feminine things of like, you're a mean girl. It's more so like that rather than like, you're a threat. You're threatening. It's more like, you're just a mean girl, you know? It's that kind of thing. You're not supportive or you're whatever. Which I always have to say it, but I was mean at every size. But it always fascinates me how at certain sizes I was seen as meaner or nicer or whatever. It's just weird. But yeah, I mean, now I don't know. That's probably just going to get worse, honestly. Like, probably the better shape I'm in, I'm just going to be seen as meaner and meaner and meaner. The first time I noticed it was when I was getting towards the small fat era. It was a part of my albatross moment because, like, within my tortured era, which is kind of like when I weighed, just for people who may not have know the context, but it's around when I weighed like 280, like around there, and I'm 6'1". Around that point, it shifted where I think I looked better. And so then I was noticeable all of a sudden. Everybody was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my gosh, you're acting so inappropriate." And I had been invisible from the weights of like 345 until then. So 345 to 280 ish. I was basically invisible because I'm introverted, and that size is just it's the duff zone. I call it the duff zone, which the duffdom affects introverts, but it's where you become totally invisible. And for me, at my height, at those weights, that's where that happened. So it was kind of shocking. But that happens a lot on a weight loss journey where you start to look better, so you're just noticed more. And that can be positive and it can be negative. Because I think a lot of people think about it super linearly. So I don't know if it's so much like about, oh, it's because you're a man or a woman or this or that. I think it's kind of just, it amplifies who you are. So it's like if he's more of a manly man, when he loses the weight, he becomes more of that. And so then he's seen as more of a threat. Because when you're very big, you're just kind of like a blah. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just being honest. It kind of takes over your identity in a way. Even if you're not in the TR, which it's kind of rare to not be if you're very big, but it can happen through hormonal dysfunction still. and other issues, but like there are some issues, but regardless, when you become like morbidly obese and bigger, it's like you do lose yourself a bit just from the fact that you're that size, and it's like you're not, it's like you're living in gray. The tortured aspect, it was very, I think it was a good way of branding it because it's all black and white. It's like you're in black and white. And then it's like, and then people see you for who you actually are after. And it's like, whoa, there you are. It's like, there you are, Thomas, you know, before you were just a blah, and now you're a man. And it's like, for me, it's like, I was a blah. And then now it's like, oh my God, Alex, you're a mean girl. You know, you got that mean girl energy. And it's like, well, I still had that. I was like, you know, I was kind of a different experience. Like, I had a different experience where people are like, they're like, I didn't change. I didn't become anything. And I was like, I was mean the whole time. What the fuck? I was just confused because I'm introverted. So I don't always pick up on that shit. So it kind of threw me off. But after that, it just kept happening. And then you just get used to it, which is why I talked about the eras, because it helps socially too. Because weight loss is social as well. I think a lot of people don't, they they do acknowledge it, but they don't say it so blatantly. And I think it's good to just tell you guys it is social. It will affect things socially. But what I don't really like is I don't think it's always better or worse. I think it's, you just become more of who you are. And so then people are like, oh, it's that kind of thing.
I had more friends when I was overweight. I had more
Oh, wow.
success in different areas when I was fat. People wanted to hang out with me more when I was fat than they probably do now. But more so, I didn't
Wow.
feel judged then. Now, I feel judged a lot more. And it's not because I'm front facing and out there in the public. I'm talking about people that don't even know me. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you are someone that's lost weight and you compare how people treat you now versus how they treated you then,
I think, too, there is a triggering of the TR zombie horde pretty much at every size. And a lot of people don't talk about that because we're often only talking about one side or the other. But they get bothered all across the spectrum. Like, if you're very big, people make assumptions about you, or people are disgusted at times within the TR. People will at times watch content that, you're a bigger person, and they want to see you do certain stuff so that they don't do certain things. Like, I have to kind of keep it kosher. Um, I think maybe like small fat is not as triggering, but if you've lost weight to get there, then it still is a little bit. I didn't get a lot of TR triggering in the, like, that duff zone and small fat. It didn't happen very often. It did happen when I was very big, though. But it was really rare because it's typically only people with Anna. And the numbers are just small. I mean, we have to be real about it. I think that the numbers for that, the reductive one, it's just so overblown. But it does happen when you're very big. In terms of, oh my gosh, when I became mid, it was like everybody. Like, it was wild. That one, honey. Like, when you're mid-size, when it becomes ambiguous of if you're fat or not, and again, that is definitely cultural, so it really depends on time and place because it is a little bit subjective. People don't like that either, but it's true. It is. So when you reach it, because the zombies, they're like crazy around you when you're mid. So that one was the worst. And I think it's because like people, it's almost as if they get body dysmorphia just looking at you. And so it's really weird, and you're affecting the entire spectrum. So it's very chaotic. In my experience of being average, so being more of an average person or just basic thin or thick thin, you know, that kind of thing, it's more so Anna, which is weird. Um, but it happens. But I'm sure if I get in great shape, then it'll be all the binge people. They start to freak. And I know that because I have a really close friend who's in really great shape, and he constantly is triggering people with bed constantly. And there's a lot more of those. So I think that's probably what Thomas is referring to, because they people with that one, it's so bizarre. They idolize people who are in shape, and then they hate them. It constantly switches, and they're constantly comparing. They get really competitive. Like my friend Eric, you guys have seen him on the channel. Some of you guys have. He has a friend that's very badly in the TR. Like, he is a clicker. He's bad, and he's upsized dramatically very quickly. And he will try to like compete with him physically, like at the gym and stuff, or he tries to show off in front of him. Like, it's just weird stuff like that. It's really weird. And luckily, like, by the time I became friends with Eric, I wasn't like, he was in shape, but he wasn't in as good a shape as he is in now. He was probably more like average-ish, or like maybe, you know, just a little bit thicker, I guess. Because he had already been going to the gym for a while by the time we were friends. But I wasn't like super TR zombie. Like, I still was, but I didn't believe in it any like as much. Like, I had started my awakening. So I wasn't like super jealous of people who were thin by that point. Like, after 2014, I told you guys, once I developed an awareness of the issue, it started to chip away, and I had like an awakening um in 2015 where I didn't hate myself as much. And so, like, with all that self hatred gone, it just totally took out a lot of steam out of the TR. So I wasn't as jealous just by people like being in shape. I didn't feel that way. And like, I know it sounds crazy to say, but thin people became human to me. So, and I know that sounds awful to say. We need to talk about that, the dehumanization of thin people within a binge clicker. But it happens. Those zombies, they don't see thin people as human beings. Um, and so, and I know that because I had a moment where I was like, yeah, thin people are human, which is horrible to say, but it's true. So I didn't compete. I didn't feel jealous, or I didn't feel like weird. But a lot of people that are very deeply in it, they're very weird. So he's probably talking about that, because it's like they get competitive weirdly. And again, people in binge are competitive. They are. Like, it's a myth that they're not. They're only not competitive if it's not as severe. If it gets bad, it gets competitive. It's bizarre. Um, but yeah, and then they'll use somebody in super great shape to, like, they'll either idolize them. Sometimes they'll like sexually idolize them, or they will use them to trigger a binge. So use the comparison and be like, oh my gosh, you're so in shape and I'm not, and it makes me feel bad about myself. Or it's like, let's go clothing shopping together so that I can get triggered because you fit in everything and I don't. Like, literally, it's really crazy. Some of it is subconscious at that point, though. Like, I want you to understand that, because when it's really severe, you're basically run by it. Like, you're a clicker. You're a zombie. You're like full blown zombie. The brain is gone. So it's like everything you're doing, it's like surrounding it. And again, a clicker, they want to create a bad experience so that they can be triggered to engage in the behavior. That's severe. Somebody that's severe will do that. So it's like, oh yeah, let's go clothing shopping, even though I know it'll upset me. And, whereas like at this point, I, forever, like even like, I don't know, I guess I wasn't as bad at that point because I just didn't, I stopped identifying as fat a long time ago. I guess like right around that time, like I was just like I used to say to people, I used to be like, yeah, I feel like I'm a thin person inside a fat person's body. Like I would say that sometimes because I just didn't, after that awakening point, I didn't let it limit me, you know? I was just like, I'm going to go on this hike or I'm going to do my best or I'm going to do this, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, it doesn't matter. The mindset, the weight itself is bad. So by the time I got older, I started to have a lot of health issues. So, that's where like that body positivity mindset, it doesn't work because you still have to downsize because it still has an effect and my health still went down as I got older. But I was young then when we were young. So I could handle it better. So I didn't have that mindset. And I was like, oh, yeah, but that's, again, part of why it got so bad because I was young and I could handle it. Or you think you can handle it. So that's why we have to warn young people that you need to course correct when you have time. It's really, really, really important. Which shout out to Angelica, but she has just lost 100 pounds and she was able to downsize when she's younger. So she didn't have as many issues, thank God. And she had more time. She didn't have to do it as quickly. And I think that should be normalized too. But, anyways, I'm really going on a rant. But all that to say, I believe him. That's all I'm trying to say. I believe him.
I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that this is all like a fit shaming thing. There's the whole fat shaming, fit shaming conversation where people that are fat are just kind of, we're trained to not make a comment. We're trained to never say something or never abuse the fact to express that maybe they're hurting themselves with how they're living their life. So we just kind of keep our mouth shut. Then there's the fit shaming piece where, yeah, you're different if you're in shape these days. You're the minority, so you stand out. So maybe you could argue that you're getting fit shamed because you're in shape and people are jealous of.
So, from a general population standpoint, I do think there are certain social roles that fit people do face, but I think a lot of it is just you end up having to pick up a lot of slack. Like if you're in a physical job, people expect you to do more, for example, which isn't fair. I don't think that's fair at all, especially if you're all getting the same pay. Like you shouldn't have to do more work. So that kind of thing happens all the time. And I think that people view it as lucky, so they view that person as lucky. And part of that is through zombie conditioning the general population. Like the zombies have conditioned a normal person to believe that it's all luck, which isn't true at all. But I think that that's where that comes from. There's also some people who act like it's luck, you know, because they want to feel special, which I think is really not the best. At best, that's like a wolf, which I'm calling that type of person a wolf, which is somebody who gives in to fat delusion for money or status. At worst, they're TR themselves. At worst, they themselves are a zombie. So either way, it's not good. But I would say that I don't think most people are bothered by somebody being fit. I think most people probably treat somebody a little bit better, maybe just a little bit more respect, maybe just a little bit more like that person has a little bit more authority than the average person, that kind of thing. I don't know if it's that deep, but apart from like if a person like if a person doesn't feel judged by a fit person and they're a general person, like they're sorry, I'm trying to speak tonight. If a person doesn't feel judged by the fit person, they probably won't dislike them at all. I could see a sense of defensiveness if they did feel judged, even if they didn't have an E followed by the letter D. They might be like, but it'd be the same thing. Like if an attractive person is mean to you, it's like you might be more upset. That kind of thing. So I don't think it's that deep, honestly, for most people. I think when we get into zombie territory, then I think it's deep. Then it goes real deep. And then it's really weird. But again, although BED people it's the most plentiful disorder, it's not most people. So you still have to separate that out. But yeah, those that are, they are loud.
Of that. That certainly could be the case, but as someone that's been in both situations, and I'm sure you have too, I've noticed that it comes down to a security thing, and that's what it is. People don't necessarily want to just cut you down, but if you are in shape and you weren't in shape before, you do come across as someone that doesn't provide a lot of security for them. Subconsciously, and certain levels, they respect the heck out of you. They have to. Okay? People are not totally dumb. They know that it takes effort to do what you did. They might throw you under the bus and say that you had some help or you used supplements or you did this and that, and whatever. They can say that, but they know that it takes hard work to get where you are at. And that, on some level, that respect transcends into seeing it as a threat. So you will encounter that people do not like you as much now as they did.
See, and I wonder too, like how much of that is zombie conditioning? So like the zombies conditioning a normal person to feel the need to humble a fit person, and how much of that is innate. Because you have to remember, we're living in the spores of the toxic ritualistic. They are a minority, but they are a very loud minority and an incessant one. So even people that are not within it, they will pick up a stupid belief or two. They'll pick up something because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And a lot of you guys have been commenting that, and you've been telling me, like, I'm seeing, like, people that don't have the problem starting to say stuff. And it's like, yeah, because it's everywhere. And it has been for a long time. That's why the Last of Us metaphor works so well, because this outbreak happened decades ago. And whether it's Anna or it's BINGE dictating what is fat and what isn't, who looks good, who doesn't, who's a good person, who isn't, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. It's just a different face. So I'm just like, let's throw it out totally or reject it completely. But a lot of people, they've just been around it forever. So they're like, well, I think I should humble somebody who's fit because they have so much privilege, or they're so this or whatever. Insert fat acceptance talking point, insert TR directed conditioning, insert zombie conditioning talking point, right? Whatever it is. So I think that could be there, but a normal person will not fight for it that much. They'll easily be shifted, in my opinion. If, like, let's say the fit person is nice or something, then they'll be like, oh, whatever, and they won't do it anymore. If it's more personal, then I feel like it could be personal. Like if it's a close friend, they just might not like you, period. And that happens. And that can happen in families and stuff. It could be personal if the person doesn't have E followed by the letter D. So it could just be like, I don't like you that much, so I'm bitter because you're doing better because I don't like you, flat out. So that could be a thing. But that's more like it runs deeper. But if it is a TR zombie, if it's a zombie, it's going to be really vicious, really incessant, and constant, and very, very annoying. So it depends,
Did before, but it should not reflect in your character and how you see the world, and it should not allow you to become cynical. Because if you were to take the way that people look at you and the way that people treat you and the way that society is now and truly internalize it, you would become very cynical and very dark, and you would hate a lot. And that is no way to live your life. But do not let it push you back to being the way that you were before. You see, before, when I was 300 pounds, I could be the guy that would be the default friend. It was easy for me. It was easy for them. They didn't have to do anything. They knew they could call me, and I would just show up, and I would be there, and I would be easy company for them. Do you think I'm easy company now? They probably feel to some degree that they are getting judged. Not that, I don't think I'm getting judged. I mean, I probably am, but they feel like they're getting judged. So tell me if this has happened to you.
See, and for me personally,
you go out to dinner.
I think that my personality would do better with that, because I feel like, especially in my line of work, which we're going to get really like weird for a second, but I think in my line of work, as an activist within this issue, it would be a huge asset to me to be in great shape, because I could utilize that. Which I know that sounds really weird, but I have such an understanding of the zombies that I know I could utilize it perfectly. And as far as in general, I'm a pretty guarded person in public. I don't talk to people very much. So that aspect of being in really great shape, of maybe having a little bit of an intimidation factor or an unapproachability, it suits my personality really well. I know that sounds bad, but it just does. So I think that some people will have more of an issue with that and other people won't. Like for me, I tend to choose my friends more than my friends choose me. It's just because I'm introverted. So I have less of a need for social interaction. So it's not a bad thing for me. It's just not. And yeah, I mean, I'll see. For all I know, I could get there and I'm gonna be like, it's horrible and everybody treats me awful. I don't know. I'll let you guys know. But these are just my thoughts going into it.
With some friends, and you make a healthy choice at a restaurant, and your friends don't want to do that. They want to go out, but you don't think anything of it. You're focused on you. You're focused on what you're doing. It's no part of what they're doing. And you want to order your salad with...
Typically, people that are in shape are focused on themselves because it's a lot of work. And I have an understanding of that because I've been doing the work. It's a lot. So, and a lot of times people that are in shape, they are nice too. Like, I don't know. I can't see myself becoming nice. I don't know. If that happens, I'm going to be like, there's something hormonal that makes you nice when you're like this, because I'm not. So if I change, then I'll be like, whoa, you know. And again, just because I do have some TR zombies in the chat, just because I'm not nice doesn't mean I'm evil or mean all the time. It's just I'm not a generally nice person. Like, I'm not somebody who's like, you know, sugary sweet all the time. I'm just not that way. I'm spicy. Okay, I'm a spicy person. I'm salty. No, I'm just kidding. I'm like a talkie, you know? I'm spicy, salty, and sour, and I burn your mouth. That's how I am. But it's fucking delicious. So, no, I'm delicious. What else can I say? No, but we need sweet people too. You need that contrast. I love sweeties because I'm not. So I love them. But a lot of people that are in great shape, they are sweet. So it's like, I don't think you need to be so scared all the time. Like, I don't know. That's my experience anyway.
Side of olive oil and a side of chicken breast that you cut up and put on your... That's just you. You're not doing it to them, but how do you think they see it? They see it as you making them feel bad. Okay? They are weak in that point. Now, society will tell us that we have to completely dance around the fact that they might feel weird about how they look and how they eat and stuff like that. And I understand that. Don't make people feel bad. But if they're consciously making a decision to worsen their life, you can't say anything because it could hurt them, but they're not going to necessarily say anything to hurt you about your decision. You know what they're going to do? They'll shadow ban you. And that's what happens. So we always say it's windy at the top. When you start to have progress and when you start to change who you are for the better, you might be magnetic to all kinds of personalities, and you might be infectious in how your energy is. But when it comes down to developing close, intimate relationships, it becomes that much more important to invest in the ones you truly, genuinely care about. Okay, the people that were there for you before may not be there for you now. And you will know in an instant when the going gets tough and when you make them feel self-conscious,
I
inadvertently.
think that's great advice. I think even at this point, from an activistic perspective, I am really looking at, like, especially within my audience, who is with me and who isn't, or who's super conditional or whatever. And it can be hard because just because somebody criticizes you doesn't mean that they're against you, but it's certain types of criticism. It does require a certain level of discernment. So that's something that I'm already seeing, and I could see that continue to get worse, or maybe not worse, but just more powerful. And especially if you're introverted like I am, you need to really pay attention to that stuff. If you're trying to get in shape or you're in this vanity era, right? Really just be aware. I think it's good to be aware. I think extroverts, you guys are kind of more naturally attuned. You can kind of sense it very fast. But for my introverts, I think we need to really pay attention and watch it as it unfolds. And I'm doing that activistically. I'm doing that with my audience. I think it's a useful skill for real life as well. So I agree with him. I agree with basically everything he's saying. I'm just trying to add more like context to it because I feel like um maybe there's certain things he's not understanding, or which who the hell would, right? I'm Ellie here, right? I understand the zombies very well. So better than most, and I left. I got out. So it's like, yeah, I can talk about it. You know what I mean?
Certainly, by being who you are, you know that either they have some work to do or they're not your real friends. It's okay to open your life up to love and happiness and lots of embrace from all kinds of people. Absolutely, 100% you should. And you should open yourself up. But never, ever, ever lose focus on doing what you do and being you. Because people will come and go out of your life, you will get judged, and it will be tough.
Yeah, I agree. So I think integrity is huge, but integrity, this is going to sound like a really weird flex, but integrity is really easy for me. I don't struggle with it at all. Um, you know, for my Enneagram peeps, I'm an Enneagram 4 and I was raised by an Enneagram 7. Like, say a lot about those two types, but integrity is a part of it. So I was raised to tell the truth. I was raised to be myself. I was raised in all those ways by my mom, who's a 7 and very much that way herself. And so I don't struggle with integrity at all. It's very easy for me, but it's not easy for everybody. And I do think it's important to really develop that because you can really go for a wild ride with people if you don't have integrity. You don't always gain from not having integrity. Because then it just becomes about who can play the other person better. And that's tough. So, again, I'm not trying to judge anybody. I'm just saying, think of integrity. For some people, it's a skill that you need to build. So it's like, don't lose yourself in it. And don't lose yourself in the vanity. I don't think I'm going to struggle with that, but if anything for me, it's more balancing. I need to care about it more, but it depends on the person. That's some people, they might need to develop other aspects of their personality or some more depth. Other people, maybe you need to develop the more superficial side of things. I think balance is good. I'm a proponent of balance. So I think we develop all areas of ourselves. That's my message. But I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.